coming to today's event. Hello to people on Zoom as well as people in person. This is our first installment of our career conversation series hosted by Future Tech Careers. Today we'll have Yordanos Casa speaking about his experience in AI. This will probably be about a 30-minute long speech with 15 minutes for questions at the end. So if any questions pop up, feel free to hold on to them, and then we'll speak about those at the end. If you have any questions on Zoom, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll read them out as they come up. So without further ado, Yordanos, if you want to take the stage.
Thanks, Dennis, for first I want to thank GRCC for even inviting me, Jonathan, and the whole team for organizing this. A little bit about me. I'm a student in Grand Valley State University. I'm studying information systems. Besides that, I'm involved in some undergrad projects. Last semester, my emphasis is applied research. Even though I had interests in undergrad research, I ended up doing applied research project last semester. It's called Prof AI, and the idea is to create lecture videos like for professors. So the professor would record a 3-minute video, and then they would enter their lecture notes. Then the rest of the work would be done by the program that we made. It would create about 15 minutes video. By the time we tasted our last attempt, it created around a 15-minute video. And then after that project, I recently started an internship at a startup small company called Prof AI. The founder is also a professor at Grand Valley State University. So we connect rare disease families. So the plan is to create a program that can connect rare disease families so that they have all the information they need about other people's experience about their disease. So if someone has such and such symptoms, they will learn about how they got dealt with their symptoms, and then they would know if they have the same thing, because there's not much resources about rare diseases out there. And then we'll have a very exciting AI features too. We have the AI feature and the recommender system. The AI feature is like a chat feature where they can talk about it. So I'm very excited to work on that project. I'm mainly as a software engineer, building the front end, also some part of the backend. And then I'm very excited to talk to GRCC students on how they can be involved in similar projects, and how can they prepare themselves to a career in AI, or like a career in technology, because the goal is to be involved in some scope. So at first, I want to talk about why you guys are at advantage as GRCC students, because you have resources to learn about the basics or the foundation, which is the very basic. It is to learn how to code. So intro to programming, intro to Python. All of these courses is gonna help as the very first step for your introduction to AI. So, but regardless, there's a lot of AI courses, machine learning courses. I'm also aware that you guys have machine learning courses. So that could be the next step so that you could be familiar with the concepts. So the very next step, once you get the hang of Python or a basic programming language, basics of like the internet, how the internet works, how packets move around. Once you get the basics of that, I suggest to be involved in to work on a side project. You may not be easily find someone to do an applied research project with, and at the very first project, I advise to work on a personal it could there are several names for it. A lot of people call it passion projects, side projects, or personal projects, but the names are names of the same thing. So how you get started with that? Yeah, because now you only know some basics of Python. You may not be able to work on a huge project. You can really start very small. It could be a to-do list with Python. I say Python usually because it's the easiest way to start, but it could be in any language, JavaScript. So like you could start as a to-do list or a very simple project, like a calendar, but that's not enough for the environment right now. It's very competitive, but it's a very good way to learn how to code and how projects actually work. So once you've done that, I personally suggest to look for professors or other individuals who are looking for students to work with. I'm pretty sure if you reach out to your professors or any faculty or even someone outside campus, they'll be willing to work with you on a project. So I would say the very first step, the next step would be to reach out to professors if they have ideas on a project they could work on, or you as a student can come up with an idea and then reach out to a professor to help you along the project, because you can work on it together, because this is not a homework where you're supposed to do it by yourself. You can work together, and even your professor can help you code throughout the project. So once you got that, that's like a very important step. So because once you work on a project, that means you're ready for the actual project that's outside. Once you graduate and looking for a job, that you're gonna be faced with the same project. They're gonna have a different structure. They're gonna have a different like way to tell you the deadlines and how they manage you. Like there will be a lot of tools. So another tip is to get familiar with project management tools such as Notion. So once if you're familiar with project management tools, you'll be ready, and you have a lot of stuff to talk about during the interview. So if you have the familiarity with the softwares like Notion, that means that your employer knows you have been working on projects, not just saying that you work on a project, but it can demonstrate how you are competent, and it will make you stand out. And then another, like I would say, if you work on a project, even if it's not ready to be launched, you should practice on how to deploy projects. Deploying projects is not hard. Also, it's not easy. So there's a lot of resources on YouTube that you can launch your project. There are a lot of ways to launch your project for free. So even Google will give you $300 of cloud credits for free. So if you look that up, you can find those free resources. AWS will give you some free resources by applying for it. If you apply for a resource and you have a project to work on, you can be able to get $1,000 for a very simple project. And all these cloud providers, Microsoft, Azure, will give you credits to launch your project for free. So I say reaching out to this big cloud providers so that you can learn how to launch your own app. By the time you're looking for a job, when you explain that you already launched it and it's live, it's gonna make you stand out from most of the crowd. Then other side projects, you want to go deeper to AI, go deeper in AI. Once you know how apps work, how to code, keep yourself updated about the new AI tools. The biggest library or like platform where you can find several AI tools is called Hugging Face. So if you go to huggingface.com, you'll find like several AI tools that you can use for free, and a lot of these tools are open source, so you can download it on your local computer. But most likely your local computer may not be able to run it. But you can use APIs so that you can connect it to your project. So another tip is to learn how to use APIs. After basic development, you have to know how to use APIs. So, but if you go through places like Hugging Face, you'll know what model is the newest. So from outside, what we know about is ChatGPT, Gemini, and everything. But what the actual latest AI developers, which are made by individuals, like not big companies. Those tools, you can find those tools for free on Hugging Face. If you Google Hugging Face, you can find it at the top. And again, I want to emphasize on YouTube. There you can learn anything on YouTube. It could be machine learning, or if you want to train small data sets, like if you want to learn the number side of it, like there's YouTube. If you want to use ready-made or like models which are already ready to use, even how to use them, how every model on Hugging Face or other API provider, you have to learn how to use them, because they all have different ways to integrate, different ways to use in your environments. Like when you use a Linux, so maybe some of them would require a Linux environment. Some of them might work on Windows. So there's even a way to go around that on YouTube. If you search how to use this program on this computer operating system, you can find on YouTube, and how you can modify this models so that they can fit on your computer. So to combine everything, you can use college is the best foundation, college classes, but hoping that you will build on it. You have to build on what you learn. You have to go home and work on your own projects. Gain hands-on experience. Projects would give you hands-on experience, and a lot of people would argue that that working on side projects or applied research is much more advanced than being employed for a company and being or like an IT position. You may be very the pace where you move as you work on a project and as you're employed is not the same, as you're given chunks of assignments as an employee, and as someone who's working on a project, you have to learn a lot of things. The pressure is much more. there's more pressure, but in a very short time, you can learn a lot of things. So I would say I would really emphasize on reaching out to your professors to work on your group projects. They would give you ideas to work on. They could assign groups so that you could collaborate with your friends. And then after you have the skills, the very next step is to look for problems to solve. You can ask people what problems they have in their workspace. On your day to day, you can look for problems so that you can solve it with AI. So, like for example, the structured workflow would be once you learn how to code, once you have a side project, and now you can integrate APIs. You go to places like Hugging Face, you look for models, and then think about real-world problems that you can fix by using that AI model or combining a lot of those AI models together so that you can make a very novel solution. So not just this one just make you a good candidate for tech jobs, but even at individually you can be successful by working on your own startups or like side projects. Yeah, my friend. Did I go over the plan?
Oh no, you're still good.
Okay. So those are my tips. Collaborate more will be like ask your friends, talk about AI, make it. It should be the topic of discussion with your friends. How not just what ChatGPT did or what Gemini did, but you should go deeper on what is really new in AI. What type of resources can we utilize? How we can use our your professors are also resources. How can they help you on the sites that you don't know yet? So when you work on a project, it's not like, for example, if you're just starting, then that your goal is to learn, but your second project, for example, could be a real life problem solving project that you could turn into a company. So that was Prof AI. Prof AI was directed by a Grand Valley State officer, faculty member, but the goal was I backed out of Prof AI because of my internship, but the goal is to have it as a company. So you should not underestimate the power of student projects. They could turn into a big company, and then eventually you want to learn about the business side of things too, so that you can learn about starting a company. So that's another thing is to have a team of diverse skills. So if someone is good at front end design, you need that person. And then if you got already that skill in your team, look for someone with more like machine learning, AI experience. Even if all of you guys are learning at early stage, to emphasize on one part of it is very good so that you can focus on one thing and learn. So we just look for people who have the same eagerness. That's very important because if someone is not fully energized like you, it would not would kill your motivation. So you could reach out on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very great resource to even find co-founders, find to find employers, or to find someone that could help you. I made my current internship. I made him through. I made my boss. I made him through LinkedIn. So I was just going to LinkedIn. I saw not every job is posted on the job section of LinkedIn. It was posted on the actual feed. So I saw the post, I reached out, I emailed, I sent my past project. So that's the biggest benefit of working on projects. When you talk to employers, what you're gonna send to them is your past project, and what they're more excited to see more than your GPA. Your GPA is important, but they're very excited to see what project you work on, and then a to-do list wouldn't help you get employed. That's just the truth right now. Um, a simple like landing page or your portfolio page wouldn't get you hired. But now you have to work on projects that actually it shouldn't necessarily be a commercially successful project or something with great demand, but the path you went to solve that problem. So how many resources do you use? It all depends on how much problems, how much challenges you face, and you overcome them. If you're using APIs, they're very tricky. So someone is, because the other person is creating their own methods, um, their own specifications for their code. So that means you're gonna run into a lot of problems when you work with APIs. So if your project includes APIs and other resources, that means you have run into a lot of challenges and you have overcome them. That's what employers want to see. That's what people who want to work on bigger projects with you, that's what they want to see. So try to be involved in more complicated projects. Don't focus on like how commercial it's gonna be, how people's gonna use it, like how are you gonna make a lot of money from it at the early stage at least. Just focus on how a bit more complex it is to solve so that you could demonstrate your skills. Then everything, there's ChatGPT. You can talk to ChatGPT about your problems. It would teach you a way how to fix it. And yeah, there's a lot of yeah, there's a lot. I want to warn about there's tools like Cursor. Um, there's tools like there's also tools that go with VS Code that could make a simple project for you with a prompt, but that's not the way you learn. You can use those once you're out employed and you want push results very fast. If your employer asks you for a feature and you don't want to code the whole thing, you can use those features, but you wouldn't learn. You wouldn't know what caused the errors because and AI doesn't at this age at this stage AI doesn't return like very good code. For example, I was learning a framework called Fast API, and I was reading through the documentation, and ChatGPT gave me this is 4.1, so the advanced model. It didn't give me the latest syntax, so it's something it imported a library that it shouldn't, because the newer one didn't need that. So a senior programmer, gonna easily notice that your code is not you didn't code it. But what's more dangerous is that you will not be able to learn. So use ChatGPT and coding tools when you run an error or you wanna if there's repetitive code that you don't have to waste your time on. I say you have to use it. Right? You have to use it. It's a necessity, but at the same time, it could be a way to. It would be on a way of learning. So it's all about how you're going to use it. And once you get those opportunities, it's going to make you very productive. That's why jobs are declining for software engineers, because a single software engineer, the truth about it is one software engineer could make a lot of projects as compared to 5 years ago. So it's not that software engineers are not useful now, but one skilled software engineer can produce a lot of projects in a very short time. So if you want to stand out, if you don't want to miss out on this AI wave, you have to learn the hardest skills, and AI is gonna increase the speed of your learning. So if you use it properly, it's gonna teach you properly. But at the same time, you can get away with like doing homework with it. Even coding projects could do it for you, and you will learn. So that's my warning, because there's a huge potential if you use it wisely. What do I? Yeah, I want to emphasize how big the opportunities are right now. There's a lot of opportunities right now, because now if you learn the right skills, you can build a whole project by yourself in a very short time. 5 years ago, maybe you would need a team of different skills. You would need, if you're maybe a back-end type of person, you might need a front-end engineer. But now you can build a basic back-end with libraries, a lot of libraries there. Something called material UI, so you can build simple UI. So if you like Google this type of tools, there's a lot of libraries that you can build professional UI without like coding the whole thing. You have to learn how to code it. You will have to code the whole thing. So there's two ways. You might miss out if you do your homeworks with ChatGPT and just try to get around with it. If you think it's going to make life simpler, it's not going to be that way. But you can also hop on the revolution. I think it's an AI revolution, just like the 2000s we had the .com boom. Now you could be very successful with AI. You can use it to change your life, change your career right now. So be cautious and use it wisely. That's what I have. I hope to have my LinkedIn pulled up so that people can ask me questions, or my email. You can also share my email with them, so that if they have questions, you can reach out to me. I'm very happy to answer. But we're going to answer questions too.
Yes.
Do you have any questions? Or from the online?
Yeah. Can you mention the names of the software and Google?
Yeah.
The names.
We can like real quick. We can make a quick like slide on the tools. But once we answer the questions, we can work on that.
Oh, so
yeah. Let's answer questions, and then quickly we can make a slide with the resources that I mentioned. So
I got a question. You mentioned about kind of putting together a team a little bit as a student.
Yeah.
You found, is there like a community where people hang out?
Yeah.
Of where you can like meet like-minded people, and
yeah.
How do you get side project going? It's just you need.
Okay, that's a very great resource for that. I also want to put that up, but it's you probably heard of Y Combinator, right?
Right.
But this would be much more a bit bigger step than side projects. So Y Combinator can help you find co-founders. So in a co-founder matching link, there are people of different ages, different experiences. Maybe at early stage you could go for someone with not a lot of experiences so that you won't have a lot of pressure, so that you can just talk to them. It would be online. But I think for me, at this stage for me, that's a great place to find people. But at the same time, I also think in-person relationship is important. So already like computing club, coding club, you have those here.
We do have, our computer club again here.
Yeah. So if you come to the computing club, probably you're gonna find someone very eager to improve their chances of getting a good career. So the prerequisites of that is working on a project. So they probably already know that. So you can be like, hey, uh, are you interested in, are you working on any project right now? And then they can tell you, if not, why don't we work on something together? And then you can build, I can even build friendships. So that's my tip. But once you get a bit more steps, you can look out for my competitor. If you believe online relationship will work, that's very good crystal component.
You ever do like a startup weekend or anything like that? I don't know. They used to be active in Grand Rapids. I don't think they've done active for the last 2 or 3 years, but I think they came out of Y Combinator. Like a startup weekend, it's just where like a hackathon over a weekend of teams.
Yeah, I've been looking for something like that.
Yeah, they used to be really active in Grand Rapids, but
Yeah.
pre-pandemic.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen any like entrepreneurial things in Grand Valley. I think we should work on that because
All right.
a lot of the computing clubs, we have computing clubs, we talk about internships and everything, also projects, but now more like on the startups.
We have a question from Zoom that says, you mentioned a digital portfolio to show off your personal projects. How do you make that?
Yeah, so you can work on the languages you have that could help you demonstrate your coding skills. So if you take HTML, CSS, I think that's kind of required both in computer science and information systems. So if you got a chance to take that class, HTML and CSS could teach you how to make a simple website. If not, YouTube. So you can learn on YouTube how to make a basic website with HTML and CSS. So you can learn how to make your portfolio website. You could include your projects, your resume, and everything.
Now, when it comes down to like you were saying that you went to LinkedIn to get employed, is there any other places that you would prefer students to go to besides LinkedIn to get their skills or just to get a job?
Just looking for jobs.
Like an entry level job.
Okay. Yeah, I think the best place is LinkedIn. And then I only use LinkedIn to be honest.
Okay.
Job board sites. I think companies also post on their own sites. So be on the lookout, like on local companies, for example, Gentex and everything, they post on their local site. Sometimes you don't find it on LinkedIn. So take the time and then search like Gentex tech jobs and tech internships, tech jobs. Yeah, because it needs a lot of effort. So even applying for jobs takes a bit of your time. So invest a lot of time in researching companies. Just go major companies in Grand Rapids, check if they have a list. So I did that. I searched biggest employers in West Michigan. So it gave me a chart of that. Then I was able to find a lot of these things. So besides LinkedIn, you can just search for companies' websites, go to their website, look for it, and then career fair for that information. Career fair is very important. You can develop your skills and speaking with employers. That's a way to know the demands too. They will tell you, like, if you talk to employers, they will tell you what type of talent they need. So you can, but if you go as a freshman, you would know by the time you're a junior or something, you would know what the companies need. So I'd say if there are freshmen or younger people in there, to not miss out on the career fair, because people might think, oh, I'm not about to graduate, so I don't need to go to the career fair. All ages should go. Freshmen, even freshmen really have to go gain experience. That's a very good question.
I do want to maybe like put a little bit perspective on something you mentioned and then get your input on what you see the industry going. So you mentioned like the current AI looks a lot like when we first started developing the internet and how that just progressed from like very small startups to what we have now. I mean, if you think about it, that started like, mid 90s, late 90s, up until now. That's almost 30 years of growth that we've seen in companies developing internet companies. And I do see the same trend in AI. I think we're at the beginning, kind of like in the early 90s, late 90s. And we still have a long way to go. So having said that, I know that some people are going to be like, I'm already behind the ball. I'm already behind like learning AI. I need to learn it yesterday. But I do think that people need to understand that there's still a long way, but doesn't mean that then you get to put it off, right? You do need to start.
Yeah.
But having said that, where do you see like trends that will happen regarding AI in not only in tools, companies, software, but like in general usage as we continue to grow?
Okay. Trends. I think I get what your question. I think the question is all about how we really know, like you mentioned trends, right?
Mhm.
So what's the future is gonna be like, kind of? I think I would say, like, for example, for software engineers, there's a lot of, like, on social media, there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of ideas that are being mentioned, which is software engineers is gonna be obsolete, which is very far from the truth, because AI is all about generating data, and it's generate data from existing data. That's why it's very good in speech and words and articles and everything. Code is not the same thing. We want it to solve new problems. We want it to be more like advanced, shorter. We want it to be very effective. But words, you want it to be much more like expressive, more detailed. So I want this edition, don't look at it as the same way we look at words and as it's gonna perform in software and tech engineering. Because I'm in software engineering, so I would only answer I kind of have answers in my own perspective. So I would say, like, do not, especially for college students, do not be threatened by it. It should be the opposite of it. You should embrace it, and it's gonna come for a lot of old things, like even the classes that we're taking. For example, I'm taking a SQL database class. I know it's gonna be soon not gonna be that useful, but you can continuously learn. You can rely on continuously learning, and then know that AI is, at least at this stage, is the best for regenerating things. It could not create, AI cannot create anything at all. So knowing that can help you understand that it's gonna be helpful in making things that are already there. So if your plan is to make something that already has been done, that's where AI is gonna replace you. If you think about new problems to solve and new ways to approach things, AI is not gonna. It's not gonna be able to, because it's simply regenerate of like current data. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, and I think that's what I wanted to get through to the people that are
Yeah.
watching and us here, that just to be, I think, very optimistic about the opportunities that will come based on AI, that even though it feels like, yeah, maybe like there's going to be a decline in software engineering jobs.
Yeah.
But that means that there's going to be an increase in like machine learning pipeline creators or AI ethics people, or people that are going to be more related to AI, and then people should transition to other jobs that are more related to the things that cannot currently be done with AI.
Yeah. And yeah, as long as you learn how to use it, you can, it makes you productive.
Yep.
As you say, new jobs gonna be created in the different space, even non-technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we don't have any more questions on Zoom, and we are coming up to our time for this event. So I just want to give you another round of applause. Thank you so much for coming to speak to our students. I'm going to pull up on the screen a few announcements from GRCC Future Tech Careers, and then I'll pull up the presentation for you to share the resources.
Thanks for your mouse.
Thank you. So basically, I'm sorry,
You
a lot of people who are in IT, they always say that AI is not taking the jobs, but it's gonna reinvent the way that we work. So I guess it was hard for me to wrap my head around it, because I assumed that with AI coming aboard that they're gonna eliminate a lot of jobs, basically.
Yeah, I think so too. It's gonna, I feel like it's gonna replace a lot of jobs, because a lot of the tasks are kind of repetitive. Our pattern, best thing AI is good at is patterns. You can learn patterns very fast.
Yeah.
So you can look at what you do during the day at work, what you get paid for, and if it's a pattern, it's gonna be very easy to replace. And then if your job is something that involves creating something, or like solving something that is not regular, I think AI was gonna have hard time to replace that. Even if it does replace that job, if you have the skills to solve a problem, you would not lose. You still have a career. So I think the biggest tip is to just learn how to solve problems.
Thank you, Yordanos. So if you enjoyed this career conversation, our next event is coming up on Monday, March 3, and that's the first Monday back from spring break. We'll be having Joanna Udo, who is the founder of Bridges in Tech, as well as an end user technology systems manager at Corewell Health, coming in to talk about her journey to becoming an IT professional, as well as all the different opportunities that are available working in IT. So again, that's Monday, March 3 at 4:30. It will be in room 140 of the Culkin Science Center, and you'll also be able to join on Zoom. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can find us on Radar Connect under our name, GRCC Future Tech Careers. And if you're interested in filling out our program interest form, All you have to do is scan this QR code, and this is just a way for us to keep in contact with you, sending you emails and updates about events and our program. So yeah, thanks again to everyone for coming, and thank you again to Yordanos for speaking. I'll pull up a screen that you can type out all the things that you mentioned on.